to the Promise Scholars orientation, and I'll make it really quick for you. First off, I just wanted to let you know that I'm Jody and I'm the Promise coordinator, and I'm going to be doing the success coaching this fall and maybe into this spring, depending on what happens with success coaching at West Shore. So there's a couple of things I want to make sure that you know before you get started at West Shore, and primarily they're related to making sure that everything is in place for you to use the Promise Scholarship. So obviously, one of the first things we want to make sure of is that our students all have a FAFSA on file, because the Promise is a middle dollar scholarship, so you have to have filed and completed your FAFSA in order to be able to use the Promise. You also want to make sure that you have put West Shore Community College on your FAFSA application, because occasionally what happens is if students don't list West Shore initially when they apply for the FAFSA, West Shore never gets their information. So if you have any issues or you've been contacted from West Shore and they say that you have a bill, just make sure that everything is set with your FAFSA. Another thing that you want to check is My Financial Aid on your mywestshore.edu website. So if you're not able to get into mywestshore.edu, it's likely that you didn't complete the orientation process, and that came to you in an email after you applied to the college. So sometimes that lands in people's spam folder or their. Be sure to check on that. So when you log into mywestshore.edu, there's a My Financial Aid tab, and you just want to look for missing requirements. It'll say if you're missing any documentation. It's uncommon, but it does happen. The other thing that I want everybody to know is that you need to renew the Promise Scholarship every year, or renew the FAFSA every year and renew the Promise Scholarship every year, but they take place at different times. So the FAFSA is open for renewal starting on October 1st of this year. You want to try to renew before May 1st if you can, because that will ensure that you get your financial aid award on time. The Promise Scholarship you can renew on our website, masoncountypromise.org. But you don't renew that until after your winter semester grades have posted, because part of the requirement for renewal is that you send in a transcript. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. The other thing that you want to make sure before you get started is if you are eligible for TIP. TIP usually sends a letter to all students who have graduated between graduation and August 31st of the year that they're starting college. So sometime over the summer, usually if you're eligible for TIP, you get a letter in the mail to your mailing address, and you have to respond to that letter. You can also go and log into the student portal at My Student Aid and take care of those TIP requirements as well. But you want to make sure that you have that completed if you're eligible for TIP. Another thing that students should be aware of is that the Promise Scholarship has a 9 credit minimum for fall and winter semester. We don't have a minimum in the summer, but we do recommend that students take at least 9 credits. Otherwise, if you need to use Promise Scholarship money to help pay for your classes and you're taking fewer than 9 credits, you would need to file an appeal. And the appeal form is found on our website as well. But we recommend that you actually take 12 to 15 credits a semester. 12 is full-time, that's minimum to receive full-time financial aid. And it will help you progress through your degree faster. And they've found in research over time that students who take between 12 and 15 credits a semester tend to stay in college and get better grades. So it's something that we highly recommend, but 9 is the minimum that's required to receive the Promise Scholarship. Also, the Promise right now is available for 60 attempted credits and for up to 4 years after your graduation. So 60 attempted credits starts the fall after you graduate. So for all students who have graduated in 2020, that means this fall is when your 60 credit count starts. So anything that you have through dual enrollment or CTE, those wouldn't count against these 60 attempted credits. The other thing I want to say is that we are trying to get state approval to boost that up to 72 credits, because we know that most degrees at West Shore are actually more than 60 credits. So that's something we're working on. It's not official yet, but I will be sure to let you know when it becomes official. The difference between an attempted credit and a completed credit is important here. So any class that you attempt and you do not, and you receive a grade in or a W or an incomplete, all of those count as attempted credits. So the difference here is in college, there's a drop add period, which most students are familiar with from high school, but there's also a withdrawal period. So at West Shore, the drop add period can always be found on the academic calendar, and I'm just going to share that really quickly here. And the academic calendar is just the major dates related to academics in a given semester. Here. So can you see the academic calendar